to prevent this kind of counterattack from happening. You can see now the Terran player has stemmed up. He is going to come in here and try to take out this expansion, which would actually kind of hurt Zerg. You know, he is sitting on no minerals right here. You can see there is actually a counter by the Zerg player with 3 Ultralisks and a small quantity of Zerglings in here trying to soak up some damage. You can see these Ultras are actually sitting at pretty good quantity of hit points. They've got the 2 armor upgrade from the Ultralisk Cavern and 2 additional armor upgrade points. So these Ultralisks are definitely able to take a beating, which they will need to as they are getting ready to encounter another Terran army with more dropships. So definitely a higher ratio than previous encounters. I'm not too sure if the Zerg army will be able to fight against this, as there goes the last Ultra right there. More Zerglings coming in here trying to just overwhelm the Terran forces with sheer numbers. And, I mean, taking a look at the economy now, you can see that the Zerg is long-distance mining because he did lose this expansion. He is, however, trying to rebuild it. Like I said, there's a lot going on in this game at the point in time. So, meanwhile, the Terran player is pushing again with the few infantry that he has to guard the siege tanks. Going to try to take out this hatchery, which it's sitting at about 3/4 health right now. He's pulling the infantry back. Going to try to guard these tanks and let them do what needs to be done, which is just knock out this economy the best he can. As the Zerg player, I mean, he is continuing to make Ultras, make Banelings, which are pretty much what he needs to make. I mean, at this point, he's doing a pretty good job. He just needs to make sure that he's able to keep up with the Terran player, his economy and whatnot. So you can see that, once again, this expansion is going to go down by the Terran Marine Marauder Medevac forces, who are now heading back into the middle of the map here. You can see there's more Banelings, more Zerglings, getting ready to do some damage against the Terran player, getting in position, probably going to go around their mirror, maybe check out this expansion, maybe just head on right to this one as well. However, this engineering bay is going to block that. No, the Zerglings are going to go ahead and attack this command center while leaving the Banelings behind. This may be an attempt to kind of bait the Terran forces into a position that he does not want to be in. Instead, there's going to be kind of a mismicro there. These Zerglings are going to go in and die to those Marine Marauder Medevac forces. As the siege tanks do set up, Marines are going to get slightly out of position from the siege tank, but that's okay at this point. I think he knows he really needs to put the pressure on this expansion super fast, or else the Zerg is going to be able to react quickly. And you can see here that the forces are up here at the top of the ramp, so the Zerg is going to have to go up. However, he does have line of sight. You do see a wonderfully placed fungal growth, and Banelings coming in from the rear and taking out all of the infantry forces. Oh man, once again the Banelings save the day, and the Terran does have to retreat yet again. The Terran player now operating off of the high yield, which is just about gone, and his natural, which is just about gone as well. But the thing to note, look at how many drones are working on this expansion. I mean, this is pretty much his only income, his only steady income at the point. And you can tell because he's got literally all of his drones invested into this. And really, even here, he doesn't have squat. Eventually, these spine crawlers are going to start to die. So you can see that the Overlords are going to move back. We may see another drop as the Zerg does move his forces up here to try to secure this high-yield expansion, which is something he desperately needs to stay in this game, because if you look at the economy right now, GiSado is sitting in an amazingly good position, and if he is able to expand soon, which you can see he is doing that right now, as he has also cleared the rocks, so he will be able to reinforce it quickly. I mean, if he gets this down in about 2 minutes, he's going to be sitting wonderfully. So you can see that SuperStar is long-distance mining from his natural to the high-yield expansion, trying to collect on some of those minerals now, but the Terran forces are going to move out towards the high-yield, which is just about finished building, and the Zerg is going to pull back his forces just a little bit and try to engage the Terran forces from the side, as we don't see any fungal growths just yet. The Terran forces, there's one, that was beautiful. And there they go, the Marines, the Marauders, they're all going to die super quick. I mean, really, what I'm taking away from this game so far is that, frankly, oGs.SuperStar didn't quite get the memo about how Marines and Marauders are such a pain for the majority of Zerg players. I mean, sure, you know, ultimately he's not... Well, okay, let me take that back. He may have got the memo, but he may just be choosing to refuse to care about it, because you can see that he has come up with some absolutely brilliant plays. They may not necessarily have secured him a victory just yet, if that is what happens to be the case, but he has certainly dealt with it in an incredibly entertaining way. You know, the Baneling drops, the flanks, just everything, wonderful play. So he's really using the Zerg to their full potential, Really great with the strategic play and everything. So I love this game so far. You can see here come the Marauders running back after they chased off the Zerg. More Banelings coming in here, taking out. The problem is some of these Banelings are really landing on the units that they shouldn't be landing on. I've seen quite a few of these Banelings hit armored units where there were light units just beside it that they barely missed, etc. But that's the thing in the heat of battle, you can't always control every single Baneling. So I mean, it's not like you can hold it against Superstar per se for not being able to do that, or maybe just not choosing to do that. I don't know. Either way, the Zerg player does have the high yield expansion now. It's not very well guarded. It's only got some Zerglings here. You know, the Ultras are off to the side here trying to knock out this command center, which had taken over and was starting to build a base up here. However, the Zerg player is actually going to make a push, it looks like, down towards these Marines and Marauders, and this should be a fairly easy fight. Might not even need to use the Banelings, but the Terran is going to stem and move away and micro, which we saw earlier he is very good at doing, microing his infantry around. So he did ultimately die, but he definitely took out a lot more units than probably he would have otherwise. So you can see now that as a result of the constant failed pushes by the Terran, the dropship ratio just keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up. I mean, it's pretty much like one dropship for every infantry unit now. So that's it's kind of an interesting little thing to see. So you can see these Marines are coming out here now, and they're taking out a large number of drones, taking out the Zerglings, as the Zerg, meanwhile, is going to come down here and attack the planetary fortress. He's got to seal off this income, man. He has got to do something about Terran having so many bases compared to the Zerg player at this point. You can see that the Terran has now located that there is another hatchery here, and he is sending more dropships, or with the rest of his infantry, down here to the back of the expansion, and maybe landing on the high ground. No, it looks like he's just going to barely miss the high ground, but he is going to drop down here at the back and try to take out some of these drones. Any damage that he can do to this economy is really going to be worth it at this point, because at this point, you know, GiSado is sitting a little bit under in terms of the mineral income you can see right here, but you know, at this point it could go either way, because like I said, there's a whole bunch of mules still that he can summon on the field and whatnot. So the Zerg player is actually pushing the Terran player back now with more Ultras. I think the Ultras are going to have to fall back, though, you can see right there, because of the micro from GiSado. And I think ultimately that would have secured him the victory over those two Ultralists. But the Ultras did retreat, and the Zerglings are going to come in here for a second. Sorry, I stuttered for a second there. Zerglings are going to come in here again and push back the Terran forces and make them lift off and fly away again. So the one thing I will say so far is there's not too terribly much anti-air, so the Terran player is really abusing these dropships and making the Zerg player really have to be very mobile, be in multiple places at once, which you can see right here, that while the Zerg player is having to defend his expansion up at the top, the Terran player is also pushing this expansion down here. So there's two attacks going on at once, and if nothing else, this is going to distract the Zerg player. You can see that actually it was barely successful. Only 3 units were able to live through the onslaught of the Spinecrawler defense. But the Terran player, you know, he's splitting the Zerg forces and, you know, just doing everything he can to really whittle down the Zerg player. And I think really, even if he does manage to, or even if the Terran player does lose a lot of units doing this, he's going to wear down Superstar to the point where he's just not going to be able to keep up. And that was another beautiful fungal growth. I think that was actually 2 right there, as more Banelings come in and just make my day. If you could see this right now, that is a very big smile on my face. I am very happy from seeing that in a very gamer-like way. So anyways, you can see that there's another hatchery coming down here, as Superstar is trying as hard as he can to hold on to the game. He's got to get some secure income. And at this point, you can see the production tab is significantly smaller than it was about 5 or 10 minutes ago, because of the fact that both players have been so locked in battle and been, you know, attacking each other's mineral lines so frequently that they're just not able to consistently push out the units that they were a few minutes ago. I mean, this base, it's been attacked a couple times. This one's just been contested just pretty much the whole game, as more Banelings just steamroll through the Terran forces. It's just not even funny at this point. It's just, well, okay, actually, it's extremely satisfying, but that's even better, because, I mean, oh, you've just got to love it. So I'm focusing too much on the Baneling explosions, but I mean, come on, wouldn't you? It's lovely to see. So anyways, you can see Zergland fully upgraded for the melee attacks. You can see that right now. Terran forces, fully upgraded. So both players are sitting at about the same level in terms of upgrades for the land units. You can see here comes a dropship right now with 7 Marines into presumably the back of this expansion, and is going to try to take out more drones, as the Zerg is going to have reinforcements here in just a few seconds, but the dropship is going to be able to pick them up if she reacts in time. Yep, there she goes right there. Very quick on that, well, so kind of quick on that reaction, as the Terran player also drops right here. So he is dropping right here to pull off some of the Zerglings and make some of the Banelings fall back, but also there's another drop right here that was pushed away. So again, the Terran player is dropping in multiple places at once, and at this point, he is really making the Zerg work for his economy, as he's just dropping back and forth on the ledge, down below, on the ledge, down below, as he continues to reinforce with this heal bus army. I mean, you can see he's got 11 medevacs, and yes, I read that in the campaign and I laughed out loud. So he's continuing to push back with more Banelings and more drops and more pressure on the same exact expansion. This is just such a highly contested expansion. I am honestly very surprised that either player is able to hold these for any length of time. And the Zerg player is going to try to drive away this command center a little bit, at least maybe try to get it into the red, but also he's going to put those infested Terrans down to push away that medevac. You can see, which is sitting at 6 hit points. It might get away, actually. You can see that the infestors were chasing it. However, the infestors were chasing it right into a team of marauders and medevacs, which are now kiting the Zerglings with Stimpak as much as they can. The infestor has died. Now all there are is just one Ultralisk, a few Zerglings, which I really don't think is going to be enough to take out this army, especially with the medevacs following in pursuit. And I think that Superstar knows that too, so he is pulling that unit back, and he does have more Banelings on the way. Unfortunately, this medevac, she does see the Banelings, but there's not really so much she can do about it. However, these Marauders are definitely going to come in here and do something about it as they charge in, and the Banelings do retreat, and here comes the Ultralisk with 11 hit points trying to chase away the Terran forces, as we do have another Infestor here. You can see that this production tab is just staying super small, because if you take a look at the income, neither player is really riding off of enough income to create any sort of giant army while maintaining the pressure. So both players are really opting for this constant pressure tactic, but really it's working out more for the Terran player, because the Zerg has been just pretty much on the defensive the entire time. He's had to react so much because of the dropship play by GiSado. So very impressed with that. He's actually had a very good use of Terran, dare I say, mobility. So that's just part of this great game. You can see there was another attempt at a drop right there, and you get 2 Marines just kind of hanging out there, probably just making sure no hatchery goes at it. At this point, dare I say, this map is starting to get mined out a little bit here. I mean, you can see that Zerg really doesn't have the income to fight this type of army. He did lose the Infestor super quick, which would have been great to have for some fungal growths. There go the Banelings, the Ultra's dead, and the Terran is going to continue to push in here and take out this high yield. Not really a loss for the drones per se, as there's only a couple of them here to begin with, but I mean, you look at it, this now is the only income for the Zerg player, and he really doesn't have too many drones up here. And I think at this point, the Terran player knows he is in a very good position to make a good solid push on this base, as he could tell from the last battle the Zerg wasn't really able to field too much, or else he would have to put an end to that. So you can see, there goes one spine crawler, there goes the second, and here goes the third, and then now goes the fourth. That's all that it's going to happen for this hatchery right here. As you can see, Zerg is going to make one strong push against us with more Banelings coming in. However, I think a lot of those Banelings are actually going to live, because the Zerglings were able to come in here and do some damage, and the medevacs were able to lift off the rest of the Marines and Marauders and carry them away to safety. As, like I said, there's not really a lot in the way of infestors or any anti-air at this point. All Zerg has some production buildings, one heck of a lot of creep, and a lot of overlords spewing it out. So you can see that there is a command center coming in here now, getting ready to maybe try to land, but I mean, there's so much creep here, he's not going to be able to, so he is going to make another push with his SCVs, probably going to do some long distance mining here, as his command center is landing right now. But you can see the Marine, the Marauder, Medevac force is pushing out towards the eastern part of the map. Meanwhile, the Zerg is sending some overlords here, nothing loaded in them though, but you can see there's some Banelings getting here to attack these SCVs, and boom, oh my god, that was so That was absolutely wonderful to see. I love that every time. So, at this point, taking a look at the army size, not so much. That's actually kind of a lack of army for Superstar. Poor Superstar. He has had some amazing battles this game. He has been really creative with his play, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to really come back from this, as his income is just non-existent. You can see right now, he's not even getting 100 minerals per set per minute. So, at this point, I think that he actually just has a couple Banelings, a couple Zerglings, and we might see one final push here, as these Marauders, this is actually a very Marauder-heavy force, so this might not even go super well, as they are going to attack up the ramp. Stemmed up, I think the Terran player lost a total of maybe, I don't know, no Marauders, as he did run all the Marines back, and that's GG. So, anyways, I realize that the Zerg player did lose, and that is something that a lot of players don't like to see because of, you know, the I guess the idea that Zerg is underpowered. They may be, they may not be. I don't care. It's not for this video. We're not going to talk about it in this video. What I do want to point out is that Superstar was very creative in how he chose to deal with the Marine Marauder push, and the entertainment value of this game was just spot on. I loved it. So anyways, I hope you guys had fun watching this game, and yeah, I will see you guys later.